Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
So, you were talking about how you're really trying to focus on Shopkeeper, and that's very similar with me with Seller SEO. When I launched that, I said, through the ups and downs and the roller coasters, usually when it gets hard, I have the feeling of trying to bail and go to the next thing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm in it for the long run on this one. It sounds like you're doing the same thing. Through that journey, what have you realized, were your strongest traits? What are your weaknesses, and what you're doing to try to overcome those?
In general, the journey, we are all, okay, traits and weaknesses. I'd rather answer a question about how I am losing friends in my journey. That's
Sure.
Sort of in there.
That's probably pretty common for entrepreneurs as well. I mean, our stories are all very similar, I think, to a lot of people who are listening to this and who are involved in the Amazon world. So please share away.
So it's sort of a drawback of being an entrepreneur. You know how everyone starts somewhere here and then you are somewhere there. So once you are out in the beginning, you are looking up to those who are further along, and then you surround yourself with those people, because you respect them, you want to be around them, you want to be like them. You surround them, and then eventually you, let's say, outgrow them because you keep going, and some of them won't go there, right? They're just gonna stay. And then there's this dynamic that becomes between you, it's like you feel like you are always helping in the masterminds and you're not getting value anymore from that circle. You feel like you outgrew that circle of friends. I'm not talking about those friends who you were 5-year-olds and you were sitting in the sandbox. Those are still my dearest friends, the 3 girlfriends that I have, we always WhatsApp and so on. But I'm talking about those new friends that you acquired during your entrepreneurship journey, that like when I was a computer science student, I had one circle of friends. And then since no one is my friend anymore, there's one person I still contact with, because things changed around us. And the same happens when you are in your entrepreneurship journey. And it's quite sad. And I don't even know, there was this, I do a lot of one-on-one masterminds on WhatsApp. We just record a question, what's happened during the day, we learn from each other like that. And then sometimes I feel like a few of my friends are sort of, just always looking up to what I am doing and trying to maybe, it's not the same dynamic anymore. And I stopped even telling how much I am making, how much Shopkeeper is making, what the revenue is, just to avoid that dynamic change anymore, And now I am in the new circles that I discovered, all those people who've sold 3 companies before, and they are in the new leagues that I want to be in. And again, this starts little by little, when you tell how much you're making in revenue, then there's the dynamic between those who don't make that much. And so my advice is try to avoid from anything that differentiates you too much. It's very good idea to learn from all types of people around you and try to maintain those deep relationships that you have. My mistakes were that in the beginning, since I started losing a lot of friends, I was carelessly losing them. And now I try to develop those relationships and hold on to them, because that person is gonna, that business is not doing so good now, but next year he's gonna start another one and there will be more success. This always up and down in business. It's never just, you cannot judge someone by one point, I became, so proud of my money that I made. Basically, what I'm saying is, in the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey, all you care about is money. You care money. You get there, at some point, you become so comfortable, You have a nice house on the sea view, and then you have the kids and wife and something else. And you feel like, okay, what's next? What else do I need, from life? What else is my purpose? You start asking different questions. And then those friends that you left long time ago because of your money, you suddenly feel like you lost out in life on something, So all I'm saying is, look around you, who's around you, and just stay with those relationships. It's nice to have deeper relationships that, they know the journey that you went through. So, and it's nice to share, things like that. And then for shallower relationships, you can join virtual mastermind, and then you can be there for 2 years, and then you switch to another mastermind for another 2 years, and that will satisfy your need to, line up to someone. But so yeah, just a little bit sad that I lost those friends before, and I hope that you guys who is listening not gonna do the same mistake.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, I think part of the reason that people go through that journey, especially like you're saying, is as you grow as an entrepreneur, your interest and your focus also changes too. So like nowadays, it's very hard for me to relate to somebody who's working a 9 to 5. Like now it's hard to relate because I don't have that much to talk to them about because I'm doing things that are completely different. So to me, that's similar for me. It's hard to be social in that sense when I feel like I don't have a ton to talk about. I'm not like a huge like car guy or football guy. Like I like football. I watch it once in a while. I like baseball better, but it's not like one of those things that I'm obsessed with. Like if I'm sitting around a table playing poker one night, I'm not even a big poker fan, but just using this as an example, I would like sit there and talk about like what's working on Facebook marketing, like to me, that's like the interesting, stimulating conversation. Whereas, most other guys are like, talking about football or cars or, shooting guns or whatever it is they're into, and so it's kind of funny in that sense. Like you said, there's definitely an evolution. Kevin, we'll have to get together and drink some beers and talk some Facebook marketing. Okay, well, let's move on to something a little less deep, which is, Paulina, what websites, tools, kind of things you use on a day-to-day basis to manage your Amazon business?
So I don't use so many anymore. I used to try a lot. And on Shopkeeper, actually, I have a resources page. It's like a huge page with like hundreds of tools. And I personally tested all of them, basically. I've at least logged in, connected my Amazon account and checked how it is and wrote my little mini review. And that was a good experience to get a feeling more like what people like and what is common sense things in the apps. So when I was building my own app, I know what's common sense and what's unusual, because you want to make everything that is common sense to people, so that it's easier navigatable. So currently I use only two and that is, I don't know, is that okay again? I'm like always checking with you to promote it.
No, I'm completely fine. Like I said, I'm my main goal is to see sellers succeed. Whether they use my tool or another tool, I of course would love for them to use my tool, but I mean, no, go please let us know.
Okay. So Amazon wise, of course, I'm using Helium 10, just because I find I guess it's not that it's the most promoted, but it's just I got it introduced to it early on and I stuck with it. And I find many people do like that with the apps. Whatever they discover first from the competitors, that's the one they usually stick with. Because the other ones will take my time. I could check a viral launch, and I could check, other ones but I don't want to. I'm lazy. Right? I just already checked out. I know how it works, where to click, where to research, and I just stick with it. So that's how, I just by accident discovered something that is quite nice.
Yeah.
And there were a few others that I was using. So there was Feedback Genius that I was using as well. But since Amazon restricted, the email, like how many times you can reply, they can unsubscribe from you, all of these restrictions happened. To be honest, I think this category of tools is a little bit gonna be phasing out slowly, just because it's not so effective anymore, and Amazon is has a keen eye on what we're doing, what we're saying, and tracking in terms of keywords what we are asking them. Right. So right now I am still using it a little bit, but I am just asking for sort of what was the purpose for that item. For example, I sell these bags that are like big velvet bags, and there's many purposes for that. So the same bag, I decided that I want to reclassify and post it as a separate ASIN on its own. So for example, one is bag just to put your skates inside for storage, and the same thing, just I'll change the color or a little bit material, but basically it's the same bag. So I'm just asking people in that email using Feedback Genius, just like, what are you using it for? Because the listing right now, it just says generic bag. And I'm curious, like, what's the purpose? Because then I could optimize the keyword so much better and have a specific purpose for that. So I'm trying to make separate different uses for the same item, and then gonna list them as separate ASIN. So only this kind of marketing research I'm doing right now, it's not really asking for review or feedback, anymore. So because of that, I'm thinking it's a little bit phasing out, and I'll probably stop using it pretty soon as well.
I think I'm one of the few sellers on the planet who has never used an email feedback system.
Oh, you haven't?
I have
Okay.
not. And the main reason for that is, well, number one, we've never really had trouble getting, we just do a lot of volume and we launch with a lot of money. So, we are always, really, going after PPC and things like that. So we sell through on a lot of volume. So we generally get reviews coming in fairly quickly. But the main reason I didn't do it is not, because I don't think it'll work. It probably works. But my whole thing is like, I just look at it from a customer standpoint. Whenever I get one of those Amazon emails like, hey, review my product, you bought it on Amazon, I just delete it and get angry. Like I feel like they're bothering me. It might not be, the case for many people, but to me, I'm like, I'm not going to do something that I don't like. We do product inserts. To me, that's a lot less intrusive and, still gets the point across. If somebody wants to go leave a review, then it's not as in their face. They can just take it and throw it away and never think about it again.
What do you write inside your inserts? I got this one insert today, so cute, so awesome. I'm gonna copy that. I left it here on my desk.
Honestly, I don't remember, but it's pretty much like, hey, if you've had any issues, contact us. And it's like the Amazon link to contact us, not like off of Amazon, just because we don't want to get in trouble for that. And then it's it's pretty much like, hey, if you have any issues, let us know. We'd love your honest feedback. You can, and we have a QR code so they can just easily scan it and go to both of those links. One to leave feedback, one to contact us. And it's pretty basic.
Look, I'll show you. So it says happy on one thing and the other one not happy. So basically, if you're happy, you do this. If you're not happy, you do that. I kind of liked it, except that Amazon right now restricts what you can put on there. But
so the trick I tell everyone to do is when you make your product insert is just attach it to a ticket to Amazon and say, hey, I want to put this in my product. Is it okay? They gave me the blessing on mine, and so I have that ticket now that I can reference back if it ever raises any issues with Amazon. I can say, hey, I asked you guys, I attached it, you said yes. So it'd be pretty hard for them to nail you once they're buying off on it. So that's what I always tell people to do.
There's one thing I was dropping into those purses that I was selling, and it gave me extra reviews without me asking for it. So basically, I was selling just a regular purse, and I ordered from my sourcing agent 10,000 coins. So basically, a small coin, just like a quarter size, and that was copper color, like the old-fashioned. And both sides had in English, it's clover leaf. The lucky leaf. The four leaves. Yep. So basically on both sides is the lucky, and then I put it in a small bag and I just say, for good luck from, and my brand name, so basically for good luck from, and nothing else at all, like just a little coin. And so they open their bag, they take out the handle, and then plook, something falls out, they see, a little coin, so, and they put in the wallet, and they always leave a review, they say, and I found a little surprise, was not mentioned on the listing, this is appreciated. And they kept leaving those good reviews, and everybody mentions the little surprise, but nobody says what it is. So people, are curious. So it was like self-promoting item that got me reviews. So it's interesting.
It's good you didn't get in trouble for that, because Amazon does get upset sometimes if you include a bonus accessory. But in that in that case, that one would be easy to get out of, I think, because you could just say that it was part of the product, without implicitly mentioning it, you don't have to mention that the purse has a pocket, so I think that's smart though. That's giving them a little something extra to make it unique. That's interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't working nicely. I'm considering adding it to all the products, but now that you said something, I have to double check on.
Yeah, double check it. Technically, I think it's against TOS, but the chances of you
Okay.
getting in trouble, and they may have changed that, but as far as I know, it is. But and it's so it's such a minefield. You know, it's some of the rules that they write are so open to interpretation that it's really hard to navigate. I think that's one of the hardest things with Amazon is the fact that it's never cut and dry. It's always up to interpretation. So all right,
Yeah.
Paulina, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. So let's talk about Amazon pricing, kind of strategies, tips, tactics, best practices, all that good stuff. Feel free to just ramble on. Give us all your best stuff on Amazon pricing.
All right. So not to make it too long, I'll give you a few good bits right away. So that, so if you don't want to watch the whole thing. Okay. So there are many different pricing psychology tweaks that you can do to your prices in order to make more sales. So there's this psychology a little bit involved in it. Okay. So you know how everywhere we see the 99, 99, 99 endings and 95 and 97. And so this ending, the reason for the ending is pretty obvious, right? 29 something comparing to 30, well, this one is 20 something, this one is 30 something. So obviously that one is a lower number, especially strong on the cuts of like from the 29 to 30 or from 24 to 25. That's on the fives and the zeros, the biggest folds, the strongest effect. Okay, so this is all common sense and we know it already. But what happened to us as users? We see 99, 99 everywhere, and we sort of started associating it with the bargain. If it's 99, that means it's cheaper. It's a bargain. But unfortunately here, when it's a bargain, it also is associated with the lower quality. And that's where you can play a little bit. If you're positioning your product as a luxury item, it's a good idea to round the price. So just make it $21 round instead of $21.99, and basically you'll get a little bit of different feeling from we are not really reading the prices and analyzing, we're just skimming. Okay, $21.99, and then there's this 22, and then your eyes sort of for a millisecond thinks like you don't even think, it's like that part driving you, when you drive and you don't think about it, so you just consume it as a little bit different, not the bargain, not the cheap. That means it's not such a low quality item. It's like it goes together. And then if you round your prices, so you suddenly get the benefit of that. Now, how can you use again that 9? That 9 is so strong that there's research done online. They compare two prices, 34 and 39. And actually 39 was selling better. So I tried that on my dresses, and unfortunately the jump, the $5 jump, is not applicable to all the categories, right? Sometimes you cannot jump that much. But I did jump, from 34, it wasn't 34, it was like 35. I jumped to 39, and actually it was selling better. I have no idea if that's the thing that helped, but that's the research that they say if you are using the charm numbers, and those are 9s, 5s, and 7s in your prices, it gets more click-through into the pricing. Now, why the 5s and 7s? Well, you've seen all the internet marketers online using the 7s at the end when they're selling the courses. It's just another charm number. And I think Walmart or Best Buy is using the 997, and one of them is using 995. So this is also commonly used ending. So 5s, 7s, and 9s have the same effect, charm numbers. So try to look at your prices right now, whatever you got, and if you want to compete with the other guys to be that better, get a little bit of extra eyes, so you just have to switch your prices not to end in even numbers. So not 24, make it 25, so try to end with the odd numbers always, and that really helps. So this is one good tip. Another tip maybe I'll mention now, not about psychology, but in general, there's another thing that you can currently look at all your prices. The threshold for free shipping. So there's this threshold of $25 on Amazon.com and like 29 euros in France, and every marketplace has a threshold that you have to buy at least that much of items, for that much, that you could get free shipping if you don't have Prime membership. So I was selling this item for $20.99, And I was calculating, so if the guy doesn't have Prime membership, how much he's gonna pay? And I was thinking, okay, $26.47, so it's $26.50 he's gonna pay. I was thinking, wait a minute. So if I make $25.99, so that's $5 extra. I made the price. He will actually pay less, and then 50 cents less he will pay at the end, but I will make $5 extra for every item, and $5 extra is a lot, because in my category, you make pretty much $5 profit, so that's basically double the profit just on that, capitalizing on that free shipping there. And sometimes, again, you cannot jump that much. So sometimes I talk about these topics in different conferences, and sellers come to me after my talk, and we look at their phone and we scroll at their prices, competitor prices, and compare, and we try to decide their strategy, what is the best. Very often I see that they cannot jump that high like I did. Many categories are competitive, and the bigger the seller he is, the more likely he sells in competitive categories. So in that case, just look at your current pricing for every price you got. If you have like 24 somewhere, so just like $1 or $2 below those thresholds for every marketplace, so just raise it to be above. And then what happens? Suddenly you will not only appeal, because the person he's skimming, he's not thinking, oh, I'm free shipping, not free shipping. He's not thinking that, right? He's just looking at prices. But there's this very popular feature on Amazon sidebar, the free shipping tick box, right? Checkbox. And it's a very, very popular feature on there. So basically you are suddenly getting a lot more eyeballs, because many people click that box who don't have a Prime membership, and suddenly you will be in the search results just because you are a little bit above the threshold. So it's a good idea to use that tip, looking at your prices. Now, for those beginners who don't even have any products yet launched and are thinking about the price, you are probably thinking, okay, I'm gonna probably just launch the product and look at competitors, and then I'm gonna set the price. Well, actually, I will tell you that the best price setting time is in the beginning, before you even order your product from manufacturer, before you even decide the final design, Now, why is that early so important? Well, because there are 3 types of sellers in general on e-commerce, 3 types of buyers. So there's bargain hunters, the Scrooges. Then there's this average buyer who doesn't really, he's not so influenced by the price. He just wants a good deal and good item. And there are those luxury buyers, who are not influenced by the price at all. So now there's 3 different types of buyers that are shopping on Amazon. And you definitely want to know in advance which type of buyer you're going to be targeting, right? Because look, there's a big difference. If you're selling, let's say, a knife sharpener, you could sell $11.99 sharpener, and you could sell $45.99 sharpener for the luxury ones, right? So there's a big price difference. And what defines the difference? Well, if you know that you're going to sell for the luxury ones, if you already know your pricing strategy in advance, then you go to your manufacturer and you say, all right, let's change the metal to be stainless steel. Let's add this luxury box and then velvet bag, and all these items should be better plastic, not break so easy. You're going to spend more for that. So you will have more cost, and therefore it justifies the price. So basically you have to know, which one you're going to target. So how are you going to know now in advance? You just researched on Jungle Scout probably, or invented some product idea. How do you know so early who's going to buy your product? Well, the way to decide your price is to look at competitor listings. So basically, you will enter your main keyword on Amazon search, and you'll get some search results. And that's from what you will decide. You will see how many players are in each box. You'll see, okay, 5 guys on that page are playing the bargain hunter deal, right? And then another 10 of them are playing that middle section, the average buyer, and barely anyone is doing the luxury one. Okay, there's space for me in the luxury, right? So you decide where is not played enough, and then you go play in that game, because if you are just competing for one more slice of the same pie, even though mathematically, when I added up the numbers, looking at 40% profit margin, the best place to be is, you would think, the luxury buyer, because it's most expensive, but actually not. Luxury buyers is not so many of them, right? There's less of a percentage. And statistically, they actually calculated this in one research, is only 15% of them. 15% of those, and then 24% of Scrooges. Basically, 61% in the middle is the best place to be, just because there's most of them there. And so even though your price is not as high, but you would make the most profit if you are, between for selling for those average buyers, average spenders. So now see, there is like this game yet you have to figure out, like who's playing what. So now when you're looking at all of the results, be very careful not to judge the snapshot of today. Like today is what? October, maybe there's like some people run out of stock already, somebody's waiting for October 1st, whatever, for inventory to arrive, and then somebody running a promotion. You can't judge the price from one snapshot. Some people might not even be on that page because they ran out of inventory. So you have to make better research than just one judgment and I'm done, So you'll basically get a VA or yourself. You'll look at historical price average for the previous long period. Probably you could use Jungle Scout or any app that shows you the historical averages of the price. And that is the best thing to look at. So you will know what price is the average when you're thinking about your strategy, because maybe you're looking at $20 price, but actually he always have 70. Just now he put some promotion, I don't know, because he's low on stock or wants to run out faster. So he comes back with a boom, So basically the whole strategy has to begin at you analyzing competition and deciding which bucket you're going to play in. And then once you have your strategy, then you're thinking about now you know that you're going to work with the luxury buyers. And then you're going to see the price range that you could do, depending again on competition, and from there, everything will develop. You'll develop a different product. You will write your listing properly, to that type of buyer who cares more about the benefit, not about the price. You will not say you'll get the best value. This is the cheapest. No, those buyers are looking at the benefits mostly. Will the color match their, kitchen or some things like that? So you will emphasize, you will completely write a different listing and get different pictures because you're thinking about that buyer. Your whole picture comes to work here. And it's interesting, there are many other different little psychological tweaks that I could tell you about, that you could also use on your pricing, like in terms of coupons, promotions, how to use bundling, add-on items, all of these things. I know a lot about those because I tested all of them on mine. I've researched a lot and I totally love this topic. But in general, that's the whole idea, how to even begin to start thinking about it. I don't know, what's your pricing strategy? You tell me a little bit about yours.
No, you've all made great points there. We tend to go above the average in our categories generally, and the reason why we do that, and I think a lot of people don't think about the strategy, is we go higher on our pricing so that we can go higher on our cost per click on PPC. Because if we've got a higher price point, then that we're driving our ACoS down. Even though we're spending more on clicks, we're beating our competition, showing up before them. Because we've got that higher price point, like we're able to beat them on those PPC clicks. The other thing a lot of people don't realize is that Amazon looks algorithmically at pricing, and generally higher priced items get more rank than lower priced items. Now, volume also comes into play. Amazon's figuring all this stuff out, in the algorithm to see what's going to make them the most money, and that's how they're ranking a lot of these results in search. A lot of people don't realize that. But something that is super easy for all of you guys to test, which we started this strategy a couple of years ago, and we were amazed at how big of an impact, especially, we saw a ton of volume. So it made a huge difference in our bottom line. It's just raising your price by $1, like just testing it, raising or lowering your price by $1 and watching it. And then looking at that data and then adjusting, because you're looking at not only, you hopefully are using some type of software that's going to tell you down to the product level, how much profit it's making. Because when you have that data, then you can actually decide, if you sell at, say, for example, $19.50, you're making $19.50 and you sell 10 units, or you're selling at, $22 and you're selling 8 units, your profit's going to be better on the latter. So, it's like one of those things where I think I'm doing the math quickly, but my point there is just to, sometimes a higher price and lower volume will actually be better for your bottom line, but it's just something you have to test.
That's right. Many of us decided when I decided my price just from my own sort of feeling, and I thought, okay, how much I would pay for this item? okay, maximum $36. I would never pay 45. No way. You know, so you decide like this, okay, who's gonna pay more than 36? No more. Okay, and you judge like that. So it's another advice that I could give, that try to climb out of your financial limitations box. Or, you know, if it's not about actually how much money you're making, it's about that buying habit, right? Sometimes you don't care about the price that much, and sometimes you do care a lot, like my brother does. He looks up every Google Chrome plugin, and then whichever matches the price, and the cheapest and the cheapest and the cheapest, and then he goes there. You know, I'm not like this. I just look at, okay, a few listings, I like this one, I'm just gonna take it, whatever the difference in the price. So there's just different types of buyers, and if you are limiting your decision on the price based on your own personal preference, you are really losing out on all of these other buyers. Like I said, again, it goes back to knowing which target buyer, you know, type of buyer you're targeting. Again, if you know, it's much better to make a decision, much easier, you know. So yeah, these things really are very interesting topic.
Yeah, once again, I think, you know, the what you guys should get out of this whole episode, I think, and we talk about this over and over again, is that you guys need to test. You know, you guys, if you're letting your Amazon account sit idle every single day, then you're missing opportunity, you know, to test new things that could, you know, help your bottom line a lot. So on that note, Paulina, we always like to ask this, because, you know, I'm always, you know, I'm a huge Audible fan. Amy turned me onto an app called Scribed, which is, you know, kind of all you can eat, you know, books and audiobooks and things like that. But what are your favorite books, podcasts, motivational materials, kind of things that you've been into lately to help your business, whether it's your Amazon business or your software business?
I'm a little bit obsessed with Sam Owen these days. Sam Owen is this guy who created consulting.com. You've probably seen his ads on Facebook. So he's built his $18 million revenue empire. This was just the year when he started. And then the next year, 34 million, just because he made good Facebook ads. And okay, so I got obsessed with his strategies and how he, like, if you right now look up on YouTube a video, it's called Monk-like Discipline, you know, like the monks who pray, right? Monk-like Discipline. And it's like an hour and a half video. But if you're not ready to get disciplined, then get your thoughts in focus and just focus on one thing. Don't even Google that video. Like, you have to be ready for it. But it's so intense how he optimized every single piece of his life. Like, you know, food is getting ordered and coming. I eat in 15 minutes, I'm done. You know, here I'm not going to do this in my life because I get more time. Then I'm going to, you know, like, oh, everything in his life, including the business stuff. And he optimizes, over optimizes, and then you focus on that one thing, like I said. So I really like mindset topics like this a lot. And I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but these days they're not Amazon related anymore. They are more, I actually still have seller sessions, and I like Danny McMillan's podcast a lot. He has this special way of asking questions that are intriguing and get the other person to give away some information that they wouldn't normally give. So I like that podcast. So I still keep up with Amazon things and I go to events. But the other ones that I really like, one of my favorite one is Tropical MBA. So those are the guys who founded the Dynamite Circle, and I'm a member. Anyone who's a member, hi. Yeah, it's sort of like a, you know, closed environment of entrepreneurs who started different types of businesses, including Amazon sellers and so on. And it's really nice community. They host masterminds. They basically put you in a group together with other 4 people, which are in a similar goal set, you know, for that 6 months. And then next 6 months, you move on to another mastermind. I really like them. And so that's Tropical MBA are the founders. And there's 2 guys chatting. I usually love podcasts where 2 people are talking, because it's so, that's, audiobooks don't work so well on me. It's very sleepy, you know, I just and then those readers don't know how to read. I don't know. You just read with emotion, don't read the. So, but when people talking, you know, 2 of them, it's interesting, because you're listening to a conversation that's much more alive, much more interesting, easy to listen. So another one where they're talking, 2 of them, is Startups for the Rest of Us, and that is also amazing. And they mention a lot of different mindset things and a lot to do with software world. But you know, the Tropical MBA is more related to Amazon, because they were Amazon sellers themselves and they sold the business. And another one is Bootstrapped Web, and I have a few more on the list, but in general, those are my favorites. I guess really worth mentioning. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, now's the time of the show where you get to tell us what's up next. Like, what are your plans? What are you working on? What are you doing now? How can people find you? All that fun stuff.
So yeah, what I'm doing now. So I've been doing a lot of videos lately. I am trying to do this sort of influencer marketing thing, testing out the waters on both my Amazon business and on Shopkeeper. So on Shopkeeper, I'm just basically interviewing a lot of people just like yourself and trying to do, like, my style is doing informal conversations. So I don't give them a set of questions. I just basically ask them random things that come up from conversation. And whenever I feel a story coming up, I try to pull that story out because I'm all about stories and I really like to listen to them myself. So I try to pull the story out and then I edit out the boring part in the beginning and I leave only the story. So if that works, sometimes it doesn't work with everyone. So, it is what it is. And so I've been investigating a lot about influencer marketing and how to use hostage negotiating tactics in cold email outreach to influencers. Like all these different interesting things are happening in my mind these days. But I'm still very closely into what Shopkeeper is doing. So there's like new types of fees that are coming up because, as you know, there are more than 72 types of fees and charges on Amazon. So Shopkeeper pulls all of these different reports and calculates everything together. So someone has to understand what the fees are about and, tell the developer, okay, this fee has to be handled this way. Now, when zero revenue happened, then there was a fee. You have to still put in the manufacturing costs, so someone has to understand, and I'm the one who's the brains behind that.
Right.
So, yeah, still a lot of things on my mind.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on. And if you guys listening don't know, we record this live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And if you guys join us live, you get to, ask questions, interact with us, things like that. I'm going to go through here quickly, see if we got any questions that I missed. I don't think so. Oh, wait, we do have one. Is there a good demand for two colors of the same product on its own? Is it okay to list them separately and rank them or add them together as a variation of other in list? So, Harsha, I think what you're asking is, should you list your two different colors as just their own items or as a parent-child relationship? I always say parent-child because you get the built-in cross-marketing. You give people more choice if they land on your listing and say you're selling purses like Paulina was talking about, and you just have the red purse and somebody is looking for a brown purse, and then they just go away. Whereas if you listed your brown purse and your red purse on the same listing, they go, oh, okay, there's the red one, but I wanted the brown one. There it is, click buy. So to me, I always default whenever you can. Pretty much 99% of my products are parent-child listings, whether it's multi-packs, whether it's bundles, whether it's colors, sizes, anything like that. Whenever I can, I always default to parent-child relationship listings.
Yeah, when you run out of inventory, actually the listing will be still up because there's still 3 colors left, So yeah, it's also good. I like also doing the same like you said.
Yeah. All right. It looks like those are all the questions for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, we really, really appreciate you guys hitting the subscribe button, rating, reviewing us. Let us know how we're doing in the comments. If you want us to cover a specific topic, something that we haven't covered yet, or you guys just have feedback on how the show's going, any changes you want, anything you'd like to see, please let us know. We'd really, really appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.